Hey guys, it's Eric here at Farpoint Restorations. I figured it was time to introduce you to our newest car. This is a 2010 Toyota Sienna. I'm super excited to own this. We had a 98 Toyota Sienna, loved that car, drove it for years. It was our camp mobile. And this is going to be the same. This is, we're calling it like whatever, the camping van or the mobile command center or the pickup truck, because honestly, this thing does it all. I'm gonna take you around, I'm gonna show you everything. If you're not familiar with Toyota Sienna vans, they're extremely reliable, and with each generation, they have become more versatile than ever before. This one we picked up real cheap because it needed a transmission. That's a very unusual thing for Siennas to need. This one had an internal bearing issue, a very interesting and unique problem that didn't affect many cars. Once we put a new transmission in it, it only has 70, well, it had 72,000 when we bought it. Now it's got 77,000, and we've only owned it since Christmas to give you an idea how many miles we're racking up on this thing. But we're gonna use this as a camper. We use it to haul goods. I'll show you around it. It's gonna be awesome. This is also the XLE. This is like the decked out version you're gonna come across. So I think you'll like this. And if you're in the market for a Sienna, as a mechanic since 1993, I can tell you this engine, transmission, and body combination is one of the most reliable and durable platforms that Toyota ever made. Let me take the camera off the tripod. I'll give you a full walk around and tour of our new car. Let's do it. All right, the first thing to know about the Sienna is it's big. This is a minivan, but it is not mini. In fact, I bet you if you put my old G10 Shorty right next to this thing, lengthwise, it's probably the same. Height-wise, the G10 probably had a foot or two on it, but I even imagine the wheelbase is very similar. It's just they managed to cut the nose off and kind of put it up underneath being front-wheel drive. So it looks really nice. It's a good looking car. All right, so first things first, this is the XLE model. That means you have the ability to yank on that handle, and these doors are motorized on both sides. I turn all that stuff off because it just drives me crazy, but the doors open from a sliding viewpoint just like the old G10s, and then they lock into place like so. As you can see, we've got the rear seats folded down, front seats are stored away, and holy cow. Let me get back to that in a second here. I'm going to open up the rear as well. The rear has the same feature. It is electric, close, electric open. I don't like that, so I also turned that off. And look at the gaping maw here, right? What we have here is something that modern pickup trucks can't even do. This, at its narrowest point, which is right there to right there, is over 4 feet wide. This, from right here to the back of the front seat, even when the seats are all the way back, is well over 8 feet. And if you can do math, that means that a 4x8 sheet of plywood can fit in there flat, laid flat. And I know this because we've done this on multiple occasions, and the folks over at Lowe's and Home Depot's always, oh, it'll never fit in there. We'll have to lay it up on its side. It might damage a window or something like that. No, buddy, it's gonna be fine. And it is, it lays flat. So the first thing that I want to tell you about a Sienna van is the Japanese engineers that created this thing, they were thinking for a lot of configurations that the United States didn't get. My guess is in Japan, this is a utility vehicle. This is something contractors use, but here in the US, it's pretty much just sold as the people hauler that it is. I bet you can get them without windows overseas. That would be my guess. Now, this being the XLE, it does have the parking sensors on the back, and it does have a reverse camera, although it's not functional right now. The only thing I've added to it since we owned it is we did add a 2-inch hitch for it. I've still got to add the wiring, but it's just a plug-in kit. These rear seats here, they're stow and go, so if we want to carry people, you know, just press this button here and the seats come up. It leaves a rather large space here that you can put stuff. When camping, we'll usually open that side right there, fold it up so we have one chair back here and place there. My wife's short enough she can sleep flat on the floor with this up. I sleep on this side, and we still have like 2 feet of room on the other side there. It's incredible. This thing also is decked out for camping by having 120 outlets in the back as well as 12-volt outlets. It has lights back here. This one is a really high trim level, so it did include this subwoofer back here. I almost wish it just had the cubby, but it is what it is. Cup holders and cubby holes, cup holders and cubby holes. I mean, there's stuff here. You can also see it has screens. We've pulled those down so that we get shade. It keeps the temperature down in here, and if you want to go camping, you could cut cardboard out or whatnot, slide it behind that, and that will actually hold it in place, so that's a really nice feature. The other cool thing, which the old Sienna did not have, was pass-through. So this will actually allow you to load stuff on either side. I think that's kind of cool that you got doors on both sides, big doors, so you can do that. And you can see we just got back from camping, actually. Got a pillow here. Got that Oops inverter, and I have a little mini fridge back here, fits in. In fact, we can take out the center console and put that mini fridge up there if we want to, but it's really nice. Lots of space. Let me open up the fronts here, and you can see it's a Highline model. It's a really fancy trim model. So we do have simulated wood grain, of course, power everything, power locks, power windows, power seats with setting controls if you want to. More cubby holes in each of the doors, cup holders, and the seats are incredible captain's chairs. I hate leather. I wish they were cloth, velour or cloth. That being said, they are extremely comfortable. And I hop in here. Oh, there we go. And you can see adjustable headrests, got an armrest on both sides, so they're considered captain's chairs. Very plush. Just when it's really hot, you kind of slip and slide in them a bit, and that's the only thing I don't like. Of course, that side also has a cubby hole and the added features there. 2 glove boxes, a small one for paperwork, a big one for storing stuff, and center console here, cup holders in the rear. This folds up, and then the entire thing folds up, and that's a huge hole there. More cup holders. I've got a cell phone holder here and a Bluetooth connector here so I can listen to music off the cell phone. It is a 5-speed transmission, automatic transmission. This one did come with seat heaters, which work really well, and another cup holder right there, and another cubby hole down there. I mean, this thing was just designed to hide stuff and put stuff in. This right here, I had no idea what it was. My wife says that is to hold a purse. So those engineers were really thinking. This here, mega climate control system here. It has front and rear AC. Does have the ability to sync, so one controls everything or have them separately. Passenger and driver side, rear as well. And then we have temp control for each side and rear temp as well. It's cold. Rear door lights on and off, like I'm going to turn those off right now so we don't have to burn the lights out while I've got everything open. Vents here. Now this is a bit dated, it's 2010, so we do have an aux port if you want to listen to music that way. This turns on and off the 110 outlets that are scattered throughout the car, and then the rest, the rear defrost, hazard. This, and I'm going to turn the key on here. All right, so this is one of the cooler features of this car. It does have, at the time, probably the fanciest audio system I've ever seen. Built-in GPS. I did update it to the latest maps available, their 2016 maps. That being said, I do find that we mix, you know, if it's local, like once we get to an area, we'll use this to get around. But if we're traveling, oftentimes on the highway, Google Maps has it better. But it is still really cool. And then it does also have the ability, we have user places set up, AM, FM. It does have the ability to add satellite. It is a CD player. It does play MP3s, you can see right there. It is a JBL system. There's speakers everywhere. There's ones in the doors, there's ones in the back. It's crazy. Display-wise, it also does have, and I'll turn this around in a second, it does have a drop-down rear DVD player, and it also has AV input, so you can hook up you know, whatever, an MP3 player to it or MP4 player to it, I guess, and watch videos in the rear if you want. So that's kind of cool. So it really is a nice setup here. Probably fanciest sound system I've ever owned for sure. Instrument layout is pretty complete. Tachometer, odometer, speedometer, fuel, coolant, and then you can see all the warning lights. This gauge here that you see that looks empty, I was wondering if that was broken. It has radar cruise control. That is an awesome version of cruise control. There's a sensor in the front. As long as it's not raining too hard, it will actually adaptively adjust your cruise. So if you set it for 70 and the car in front of you is doing 68 going up a hill, instead of having to drop out of cruise and slow down manually, this thing automatically backs you off slightly until they crest the hill and then speeds you back up to speed. So pretty cool. Really like that on long trips. Takes a lot of the, it's like autopilot, honestly. It's incredible. The technology is really there. Of course, it's decked out with safety features as well. Side curtains, front airbags, side airbags, everything. And then over here we do have automatic rear vents so you can open and close, dash light illumination, mirror control, and the mirrors actually fold in. So if I'm going to put it in the garage, I can push that in and out, and you can see. This mirror needs to be fixed. I've got a mirror for it. It's like it's lost its color, but I can show you. Hopefully you can see that. It does have blinkers in the mirror, which is good for drivers behind you or alongside of you. It'll alert them if you're going to drive into them, and also helps you remember that your blinkers are on. So sometimes you forget that. As far as the view, I mean, it's a massive window, auto dimming, and it does have this, which is nice, map. It tells you the temperature. And we got modes here. So I'm getting 23 miles to the gallon out of this thing, which is impressive for a beast. The Subaru Outback, the Subaru Forester, those barely cut 20 miles to the gallon, and they're a fraction of the size of this when it comes to being, able to do stuff. And then distance to empty. So it's a nice little trip computer there. And of course there's cubby holes here as well to put your glasses. It does have a massive sunroof here, so you can get the wind in your hair if you want to. And then here is our drop down DVD player screen. So that's kind of cool. Watch TV in the back if you want to. All right, turn the key off here. Let's pop the hood and we'll wrap this thing up. Okay, and here is where the power's at. I will say this is probably the most powerful car I've ever owned. It's a V6, but it's a potent one. It's a 3.5 liter, and I can't remember the horsepower rating, but it's over 250, and it's got some get up and go. Timing chain versus timing belt. Our last one had the 3.3 in it, and those still had a timing chain. Also extremely durable engines, but the 3.5 is an improvement over that. Very few problems with these engines. There was an oil feed line that would go bad on some of the earlier models, but by 2010 they had that figured out. Durability wise, I mean, these things are good for 250, 300,000 miles, just like every Toyota of this era. It is kind of tucked in here. Having worked on these for a living, I can tell you that spark plugs, which are due at 120, you do have to take the cowl out. That sounds like a huge process. It's not really that bad. You don't have to take the entire intake manifold off. You just take off the throttle. You kind of work your hands from both sides to get those spark plugs out. That's about the most difficult routine maintenance job on this. Drive belt's actually not all that difficult to get off. It's not fun, but it's not difficult. You can see it down in there. And this one's still in good shape. It does have conventional power steering, so we have a power steering reservoir, washer fluid, oil check, transmission check, air filter. There is a cabin filter on the inside, and then brake fluid and radiator fluid, as well as your overflow bottle right here. So it's pretty well laid out. It's just a little bit snug because, they wanted to maximize the interior size, and that meant making a few compromises out here on the edge, Yeah, pretty awesome little car. So that's it. It's the 2010 Toyota Sienna. They made these from 2004. The only difference being the 04 still had the 3.3 in it with the timing belt. Still a good car, but 05 they changed over to this style and kept it all the way through, I believe, 2011. This is a 2010, so it's probably the latest revisions, probably one of the more durable models you can get. And of course, they had the decked out XLE model, fog lights and radar cruise and all that good stuff. You could get the lowest model of this would be the CE. And I would tell you that I would buy a CE model in a heartbeat. While all the features that I just went over on this car are nice to have, none of them are necessary. I mean, it's nice to have that stuff, but if you just want a car to drive around that's going to be durable, if you want to do handyman work or construction work and you can't get your hands on a truck for decent money, this is the secret, man. Like, there's a lot of guys doing plumbing and electrical work out of these cars now because they just work. They're durable, they're reliable, and they can hold a ton of stuff. You can see with the tinted windows from the factory, can't really see what's going on in the back, can you? So, I mean, it's good for camping, which is what we're going to do with this and traveling. I took this to Xena. It was its first trip after I got the transmission put in this thing, and it did awesome. Slept at a truck stop coming, And well, both nights I was there, and had plenty of room for me, all my stuff, everything I bought, and still felt comfortable on the way there and the ride home. So really nice, really nice. You can see down here is that's the adaptive cruise right there, and the little sensors on the side right there. And there's another one over there for parking sensors. So for 2010, it was really a fancy model. Well, I guess that'll do it. It's kind of a long video, but I want to go into everything that the Toyota Sienna has to offer, and I'll tell you, these are great cars. They're hidden treasures. Minivans have, for some reason, fallen out of favor in trade for oversized SUVs, and I'll tell you, SUVs ain't got nothing on this car. They have nowhere near the holding capacity, the loading capacity, or the carrying capacity that this vehicle right here does. Find me an SUV that can fit a 4x8 sheet in it flat, and I'll start caring about them. Till next time, my friends, take care.